Emory Andrew Tate III, what makes a terrible leader? I'm sure many of you know him, a compassionate feminist who dedicated his life to Okay, now as much as I wish that was the case, this is Andrew Tate. A controversial uber-rich figure, a man with millions of young impressionable boys and men who follow him like he's some prophet who's come to save all men from the shackles of modern women, feminized masculinity, loneliness. But little did they know, this leader of theirs is actually their worst enemy. And in this video, I'm going to deliver a perspective that you haven't seen in all the other million Tate videos out there. A great leader does not contradict themselves. You can't lead people when you're a walking contradiction, because if you're a walking contradiction, your actions aren't aligning with your words. And Andrew Tate's motto is that he wants to free men from socially induced incarceration, right? That's literally from his website, verbatim. Yet his whole claim to fame was starting a fraudulent cam girl business where he wasn't paying the girls their fair share.
The HR category of the webcam business is the largest and most important thing. You're effectively taking girls, teaching them how to make unlimited money from home, and then making sure they give it all to you.
And he would disguise themselves as the cam girls to chat with the boys and men who were paying to speak to the cam girls. These are his own words and admission. Like, can you imagine this man was actually most likely typing inappropriate things and receiving compliments from these horned up boys and men who thought they were chatting to a woman. How insanely ironic is that? And it's shocking that his fans don't grasp the irony in this. Andrew Tate wants to free men from being slaves to the Matrix, but his most profitable business, outside of his $50 per month course, which sells skills that you could find in a $20 book, was what anyone can agree is modern men's biggest addiction: pornography. So he has clips saying this.
Is bad? Well, I think it's pointless. I don't watch porn. So that's my view on porn. Don't be a fanatic. You knew that anyway.
But then was a CEO of and actively promotes the idea of a fraudulent cam girl business. How pathetically ironic is that? Pathetic is not a mean word. It is pathetically ironic. I'm not being mean. I'm being completely honest, considering the context. This is like the equivalent of if MLK was a slave owner, because how can one fight against the very thing he promotes? Is also linked to loneliness, and yet he so often speaks about men loneliness.
I don't think most women can actually genuinely understand how lonely the majority of men are. And you need to truly understand, if you're Joe Schmo.
So how much does he truly care about his followers when he speaks up on men's issues and then on the other hand, prey on those weaknesses stemming from said issues? What kind of leader is that? What kind of leader is a hypocrite? A bad one, that's for sure. Andrew Tate talks about confidence and macho-ness and security in yourself as a man. But in reality, when you really think about it, he's probably one of the most insecure celebrities on the internet. Wanting attention and virality so bad that he incongruously attacks a 19-year-old and flaunts his car collection to her, constantly flaunting his wealth every chance he gets or mocking other people's financial statuses.
If you have less money than me, even by a single cent, you're a brokey, a wagey, a peon, a peasant, a nobody. When I go to the gym, it's so I'm in fantastic shape, so I can call everyone a brokey, and they don't want to come up to me on the street because I know I'll
as well as quickly and conveniently saying he's playing a character as soon as his words, beliefs, and values are being used against him. But he doesn't just contradict himself, he also looks down on people. Contempt, also known as the feeling that a person or thing is beneath consideration, worthless, or deserving of scorn, which is how I describe his general feelings towards women. But not just women, he also shows contempt towards the average person. A true and valuable leader does not look down on people, ever. Andrew Tate does that 24/7. I mean, the woman one is obvious, but first let me talk about the one about the average person. He constantly talks about being a brokey and how, well, he essentially promotes the idea that success, happiness, and purpose is found in creating wealth for yourself. Now I'm gonna read a Twitter exchange where you can see Andrew Tate showing contempt to the average person. Andrew Tate, you are poor, you are unimportant. Men do not fear you. Your woman disagrees with you. I'm sorry, it's just your lives are if I was forced to endure a year of your life, it would be the worst level of depression imaginable. Before I even read the person's reply to this, that in of itself, is that a leader? Is he an example? Like, this is who you aspire to be? Anthony replies, I am poor, but I work with special needs students who love me and live a fulfilling life. I don't need anyone to fear me, because what are you, God? Why do you need anyone to fear you? I am content being appreciated. I am spending Christmas with the woman I love and our 3 gorgeous daughters. We don't agree on everything, and that's okay. And if he's not talking about men's issues and contradicting himself on the various things he speaks against, he's also speaking very ill of women. Look, people have the choice to live a life of complete traditionalism in their relationships, even if it's borderline sexist. But there's a difference between having your own relationships, whether toxic or not, with consenting adults that are okay with that sort of treatment versus publicly telling men how women should be viewed and treated. But Andrew Tate is not a misogynist. He said it himself. He literally calls women his property.
It's not about being property. It's about the fact that she belongs to him and the intimate parts of her body belong to him because they're.
He treats women as if they are sex objects and how men should imprint on 18 to 19-year-old girls.
Whereas a 19-year-old might have had one guy from high school, just broke up, she's fresh, and I can fucking put my imprint on her and make her a good person.
He said that. That's his own words. There is no context that makes that sentence any more than predatory. And if you do not believe that any of his takes shows his contempt towards women, then you're probably a fan of his who's convinced themselves that there is nothing wrong with these takes. But there is. I mean, say one of these things to your mother and you're gonna be slapped back at a time where women fainted over the side of a bowl cut. Yes, I'm fully aware that he has said some nice things about women, but it doesn't matter. It does not. He's still a terrible leader because he says enough misogynistic takes for it to be affecting young boys. A good example is those self-help gurus who have a history of scamming people, not the ones who actually help people constantly, the ones who have that history of being scammers. Yes, someone somewhere received some helpful advice that somehow helped them in some way, but they also scam people. So it's like, yeah. And the fact that he shares his toxic expectations of women to his young impressionable fans is very problematic. I mean, he's essentially teaching to his fans that it's okay to restrict women's role solely to the purpose of serving men. And before I get into his criminal history, this video that I can't even show, where he's beating his girlfriend violently, is so telling of how bad of an example he is. Look, I personally do not care if it was consensual, whether she's protecting him or saying the truth in this video. This is not normal. Not one adequate parent would allow or even be semi-okay with the idea of their son worshiping, admiring, and following a man who has a fetish on inflicting violence on women. But I haven't even gone to the worst of things that solidifies Andrew Tate's incompetence for leadership. I mean, this is a no-brainer, right? A true leader obviously does not involve themselves in criminal activity. I'll link in the description below videos that go into detail about his whole criminal issues right now. But to summarize, basically he incriminated himself to the point where he already looks completely guilty. I already went in depth about the fraudulentness of his camgirl business, but there's more to it. It's not just the fact that he's promoting something that contradicts what he speaks up against. But what kind of leader promotes a business model where he advises young men to use women's bodies to take money from men for their personal gain? Not just that, he also boastfully admits to tax evasion, which...
When I lived in England, I refused to pay tax. It was 40%. So they started sending me letters and threatening me. You know what you do? You know what most people would do? Apply to the letter, get a clever accountant. Guess what I did? Ignore the letters. Ignore. Then they start sending people around to my house.
I find it hilarious that his ego is so inflated that he doesn't think he will 1000% be charged for this sooner or later, especially now that he admitted it. But what kind of leader even promotes the idea of evading taxes and to not pay them because they're stupid? Like, and by the way, businesses avoid taxes legally, and he is not. Like, he thinks Bitcoin, like, absolves you from taxes. My point of this video isn't that men, I feel like I'm always saying this in my videos. This isn't my point, guys. I just feel like I have to do this. My point isn't that men shouldn't strive to be better or that they should remain feminized or stay lonely or stay broke. I don't know. Like, that's not my point. Going to the gym is a universal thing. You don't need Andrew Tate to know that exercising, productivity, praying, journaling, and touching grass improves your fight against depression. You can just Google that. You don't need him to know that. And when it comes to Tate's constant preaching about becoming rich, stop being brokey, and having 10 out of 10 women around you at the club or whatever, you want some helpful advice from someone who's never been a man in her life? No amount of cars, women, sex, money, etc. will fulfill you. There was a time where $20 of allowance or, just finding on the floor felt like the most amount of money in the world. Now it feels like nothing. Obviously, it depends on how old you are watching this. But yes, it's free money, but you don't have the same feeling getting $20 as you did when you were a child. Entrepreneurs constantly pursue higher monthly revenue goals because even though the first month of hitting $10,000 revenue felt amazing, one day seeing $10,000 in revenue for the month will become the worst month of their year. Do you see where I'm getting at here? Whoever has money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless. Yet that's what this man teaches people, the chasing of meaningless things, the foolishness of believing that there's anything fulfilling in materialism, to think you'll find happiness and have succeeded in life if you become him, and if you adopt his lifestyle. This insecure man who feels the need to bring down people who aren't exactly like him or think exactly like him, he deceived you into believing that you'll be happy once you achieved his lifestyle. Newsflash, you won't. In fact, I don't even believe he's content with his own life. No man who has made their life's goal and purpose about materialism is happy. Every picture you see of theirs, every video you watch of theirs, are only desperately trying to convince you that they're happy to compensate for their lack of fulfillment. You want to try something fulfilling? Try Jesus. You won't be disappointed. And also, read. Let's stop using YouTube as some educational tool. Most times it is, but it is so easy to fall down a rabbit hole. 1 second you're watching a video about how to not be insecure, and the next second you're religiously watching videos telling you women are grotesque creatures that limit men. So maybe open a book every now and then. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this week's video. Tell me what you thought. Tell me you thought if it was too short or too long. I actually don't know how long it will be. I don't know if it'll be 7 minutes or 15, but tell me, regardless of the time length, if you want it to be longer or shorter. Do you want me to go into more detail, or do you like when I just speed run things? Do I talk too fast? Sometimes I think I do. Let me know how you want me to approach my videos. I want to understand what you guys want to see. So please give me some feedback in the comments, not just about my delivery, but also about the content of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching this week's video. Hit the like button, subscribe, and African mama slap the notification bell. And I'll see y'all on the next video when we're back on my channel. I'm Mahana, and I'm out. But anyways, thank you guys for